Hi everyone, here's some of what's heading your way tonight. Your news at 9. 3 girls who went missing from Jasper County are found safe. Plus,
a new report says Kansas and Oklahoma are in the top 20 when it comes to the number of people vaccinated, but it says Missouri is at number 42. I'm Chris Warner. We're going to take a look at those numbers locally.
Nick Kelly has weather, Jacob Leonard has sports. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Abbey. 3 missing teenagers from Jasper County have been found safe in Kansas City. KOAM's Zach Dodge has the latest.
The 3 teens were found safe after being missing for more than a week. 14-year-old Alexis Crawford, 16-year-old Morgan Halderman, and 14-year-old Jasmine Marie Holiday were last seen on Saturday, April 3rd at the corner of 7th and State Line in Jasper County. On Sunday, they were found safe by the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department. Their PIO says, quote, "The girls were located and are safe. An investigation is underway. At this point, evidence has been sent out for forensics. No one is in custody. I will not have any further information for a while until the results come back, more interviews are conducted, etc." End quote. The Jasper County Sheriff's Office is glad to hear they're okay, but they can't release many more details either.
There's not a whole lot I can say because it is an investigation and they're juveniles, so I'm kind of limited in what I can say. But I will tell you that if it gets to the point where we close it, then we'll release more information, but that's all we can release right now.
Walrod was able to tell us they're going to be conducting interviews with the teens, and he believes they're still in Kansas City. Reporting in Jasper County, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
Zach, thank you. If you have your smartphone handy, go ahead and get it out. Get that camera ready to stay up to date on the latest news, weather, and sports. Download the KOAM News app. All you have to do is take out that smartphone, let it scan that QR code on your screen right now. It's going to take you over to the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store if you have an Android phone, where you can download the KOAM News app free of charge. 1 man is dead, 2 others injured after a crash in Woodson County, Kansas. The crash happened Saturday on U.S. Highway 75, 10th Road, just 10 miles south of Yates Center. According to Kansas State Highway Patrol, 83-year-old Raymond McIntosh of Buffalo, Kansas, failed to yield to a stop sign, hit another vehicle in the intersection. McIntosh later passed away at the hospital. The 2 occupants of the other vehicle were taken to Coffee County Hospital with serious injuries at last report. Meteorologist Nick Kelly joining us now with the first look of the forecast. No sun, you got kind of cool wind out there. I'm just going to go ahead and say it, kind of a dreary day, man.
You're probably not going to like the weekend then. Before we get to that, though, at least we're going to be dealing with a lot more chillier air by then. But so today, this didn't look so bad in terms of the numbers. 48 to start with a high of 64. And believe it or not, we actually finally saw some rain pop up this evening. In fact, the Skywatch Storm Tracker over the past 3 hours or so showed rain, even a couple of thunderstorms, again, in our southern counties along and south of the I-44 corridor. And as long as an upper level wave is still working over the state of Kansas, not only are we going to keep the skies cloudy overnight, we're going to hold on to at least some scattered showers, maybe a couple of thunderstorms as well. 48 to start, and despite partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies again tomorrow, we'll be right back near 63. We'll break down the forecast, including the weekend that you may not like. Jordan, coming up here in just a bit.
All right, Nick, thanks so much. Police say at least 1 person is dead and a Knoxville police officer is wounded in a shooting at a Knoxville, Tennessee high school. Authorities say the suspect was a student and was killed by police. Researchers say the average daily number of COVID-19 cases is climbing in Oklahoma. Johns Hopkins University researchers say the rolling average of daily new Oklahoma cases over the past 2 weeks has spiked by 168 cases, or 47.4%. As of Friday, the most recent day of data, Oklahoma averaged 522 new cases over 7 days. Johns Hopkins COVID-19 death toll for the pandemic in Oklahoma is almost 6,700 out of more than 458,000 cases. Meanwhile, the CDC says 35% of the state's population has received at least 1 COVID-19 vaccine dose. That increase in cases comes as a new report finds Oklahoma is among the nation's leaders in vaccination numbers. The website Becker's Hospital Review compiled vaccination data from the CDC for all 50 states, made a list from highest percentage of people vaccinated to lowest. KOAM's Chris Warner spoke with health officials in Missouri and Kansas. Chris has more.
That list uses the latest CDC vaccine numbers for each state. It ranks Oklahoma and Kansas in the top 20 and Missouri at number 42. On the Kansas side, 19% of the Crawford County population is fully vaccinated. Crawford County Health Director Teddy Van Kam says numbers have been good.
They had been on the mark, and I'd say in the last 2 weeks, our numbers for our clinics have been going down. I think that we probably have vaccinated a very good portion of people who wanted to be vaccinated.
Van Kam says she knows what may be leading to the decline.
But we're trying to reach out to those who may have some vaccine hesitancy to really try to educate and encourage, because the more people who become vaccinated, fully vaccinated, the quicker that we reach herd immunity.
On the Missouri side, Jasper County has about 12% of the population vaccinated according to the state's website. But Jasper County Health Department Administrator Tony Moore says that number may not be 100% accurate.
Oftentimes they do it by zip code as opposed to specific geographic area. And I think that a lot of our numbers look a little lower just because I think we've got a lot of folks that have Joplin zip codes that don't always turn up showing them as Jasper County residents.
And he agrees with his Crawford County counterpart about vaccine hesitancy.
So I'm hoping that by opening this last week, that the number of people seeking vaccine will improve.
To reach herd immunity, at least 70% of the population needs to be vaccinated, which Van Kam is concerned about.
Realistically, that may not happen. We have to be realists too. But we do want to be able to take every opportunity we have to encourage or to educate.
I'm Chris Warner for KOAM News.
To find the latest vaccine numbers in your area, just head over to koamnewsnow.com/coronavirus. Moderna and Pfizer are now putting shots in arms for a third time as they begin human testing for COVID vaccine booster shots targeting new strains. Fox News correspondent Jonathan Seary has more now from Atlanta.
More than 230 million COVID vaccine doses have been distributed, and 46% of all adults in the U.S. have now gotten their first shot. But states are still racing to cover as many people as possible as a new spike intensifies. The daily average of new cases is now close to 70,000, a 3% increase from last week, and hospitalizations are up more than 6%, prompting health officials to recommend pulling back on reopening plans.
We know that the vaccine will have a delayed response. The answer to that is to really close things down.
A big driver of the new surge, COVID-19 variants, including one from the UK that has become the dominant strain in the US. Some Americans are now getting a vaccine shot for a third time as both Pfizer and Moderna start clinical trials for booster doses, targeting those new strains.
We have this new strain coming out of South Africa and in England, so I just decided why not.
The trials come as vaccine access expands across the country. The White House says by next week, all adults will be eligible, and more states are allowing teenagers to get vaccinated as well, including Illinois, where anyone 16 or older can sign up starting today.
They're bringing it back home to the older people. That's the problem.
And the minimum age could be getting even lower. Pfizer is asking the FDA for permission to start vaccinating 12 to 15-year-olds. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seary, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor one of our four state heroes. Charles Pitt served in the U.S. Army from 1968 to 69. He spent time in Thailand, and we are proud to thank Sergeant First Class Charles Pitt. He's tonight's four-state hero. Nick Kelly's up next with a complete look at the forecast, and later, Pittsburgh senior Tyson Weimer's enjoying some of the biggest moments of his life, but it's the result of a lifetime of hard work. We're going to have that story in sports.
Even though we kept things pretty quiet for much of the day, it was just rather unfortunate we couldn't keep things warm like we did yesterday with highs in the upper 70s and lower 80s. Even though we did have partly sunny to mostly cloudy skies from indigo sky and all across the area outside of Seneca, Missouri, we saw temperatures tumble into the 60s for today, and not to mention cloud cover working in. For much of the day, though, we didn't have much to track underneath the clouds, but that has changed. 912 on the radar network showing a cluster of rain working over Table Rock Lake and near the Bull Shoals Lake as you work into southern Missouri and northern Arkansas. But you see these specks of blue. That's additional rain starting to develop, and a sign that we've seen come to life since about actually 7 o'clock this evening, where we had some scattered rain and thunderstorms work across our far southern and southeastern counties. So because of a weak wave working across the state of Kansas now, that's what's keeping the cloud cover in place. That's what brought some rain chances for some of you already. And that's what's going to keep some rain chances around for tonight and into your Tuesday morning. I think we get a break in the action, staying partly sunny and dry for Wednesday and Thursday. A short-lived break, though, because we're going to ramp up our rain chances as we head into the weekend. And I already know Jordan got a sneak peek at the forecast. We'll break down those numbers again. Still thinking our best shot for accumulating steady rain, setting up for Friday. Right now, though, in Joplin, we are mostly cloudy. We are dry, chilly at 56, a north breeze at about 10 miles per hour. Most of us now are sitting in the mid to upper 50s, but you still have a couple spots like Miami and Grove right around 60 degrees. In general, though, everyone's chilly, and we'll continue to drop back into the upper 40s for tomorrow morning. And again, we will have no problem getting back into the lower 60s for afternoon highs, staying mild for your Tuesday. Let's go back to the maps. Let me widen out the view for you here, break down the setup. There's the cold front that changed our southwesterly wind yesterday to a northerly wind today, keeping the cooler than normal air in place. Then here's the active upper level lows coming our way. This one over Montana and Idaho, that's the one that's going to bring the better shots for rain on Friday. For now, we have a weak wave passing to the north, and again, that weak wave working across the jet along the Kansas-Oklahoma line. That's what's going to keep the cloud cover around for tonight, and scattered showers, maybe a couple storms too. Nothing too crazy, and I think they're pretty much done by the time we get the morning drive to work and school started as we start cool in the upper 40s. Let's go partly sunny by lunchtime and then back to mostly cloudy skies for tomorrow. Maybe a stray shower in the afternoon, but 48 tomorrow, 60 by noon, afternoon highs around 63. We'll watch for a few random showers again tomorrow night, but we keep things quiet for Wednesday and Thursday. Then that wave over Montana and Idaho digs our way. There's the better chance for steady rain and a lot of cloud cover, leading to not best looking weekends we've seen around here lately. 63 tomorrow, 62 on Wednesday, 58 on Thursday. We'll be lucky, Jordan, if we can hit 52 for a high on Friday and staying in the lower to middle 50s for Saturday and Sunday. If I can try and make it better for you, It doesn't last long. We're back to 58 Monday, and we should be mild again for the rest of next week.
You're right. As it stands right now, though, I'm not going to like the weekend.
Well, let's enjoy the okay temperatures tomorrow. Can that work?
You got it. I like that idea.
Right.
Nice lesson there. All right, Nick Kelly, thank you so much. Coming up, a motion to isolate a jury in Minneapolis.
The third week of Derek Chauvin's trial begins with another request by his defense team to sequester the jury. I'm Garrett Tenney in Chicago with the details coming up.
The fatal shooting of a black man by police sparking protests in a Minneapolis suburb. The incident happening just miles from where Derek Chauvin's trial is taking place. Fox's CJ Papa has more.
Protests erupting in a Minneapolis suburb following Sunday's deadly shooting of 20-year-old Dante Wright by a police officer. Wright's mother recalling the last time she spoke with her son.
He called me at about 1:40, said he was getting pulled over by the police. And I said, well, why did you get pulled over? He said they pulled him over because he had air fresheners hanging from the rearview mirror.
Officers say Wright was wanted for an outstanding warrant. Police tried taking him into custody during a traffic stop in Brooklyn Center, but Wright got back into his car. That's when police say an officer fired his gun. Wright drove several blocks before he crashed into another vehicle and was declared dead at the scene.
Medical resources were then deployed to the scene to aid the people in both the vehicle that was crashed into and the original group.
Protesters gathered Sunday evening and marched toward the police department. Authorities say rocks and other objects were thrown at officers. About 20 businesses were also damaged at a local mall. The Minnesota Department of Public Safety says National Guard members were activated.
There were reports of crowds, 100 to 200, that were marching toward the Brooklyn Center Police Department. As we understand it,
Sunday's shooting comes as Minneapolis remains on edge from the trial of Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer charged with killing George Floyd. That trial continues today with its third week of testimony. Authorities say Brooklyn Center officers have body-worn cameras. They also believe dash cameras were activated during Sunday's shooting. CJ Papa, Fox News.
More witnesses taking a stand today in the trial of Derek Chauvin. As we just saw, today's testimony is taking place just miles from the site of an officer-involved shooting. The defense also raising questions about the incident as the trial's third week started. Fox News correspondent Garrett Tenney has more.
Prosecutors wind down their case Monday in the trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. The third week of testimony beginning with another medical expert. Prosecutors called a cardiologist to the stand who testified that Floyd died from a lack of oxygen due to being held down by police.
Dr. Rich, do you have an opinion as to whether George Floyd would have lived if not for Mr. Chauvin's subdual and restraint of him for 9 minutes and 29 seconds on the ground?
Yes, I believe he would have lived.
Jurors also listened to emotional testimony from George Floyd's brother.
He was so much of a leader to us in the household.
Earlier in the day, Judge Peter Cahill declined a request by the defense to immediately sequester the jury following Sunday's fatal shooting of a black man by police just miles away from where George Floyd died. Brooklyn Center police say during a traffic stop, officers tried taking 20-year-old Dante Wright into custody for an outstanding warrant when Wright jumped back in his car and an officer fired at him. The city's police chief says the veteran female officer intended to use her taser, not her handgun. Defense attorney Eric Nelson arguing jurors in the Chauvin trial could be influenced by any potential unrest that could happen as a result of their verdict.
Ultimately, Your Honor, the question becomes, will the jury be confident to make a decision regardless of the potential outcome of their decision?
The judge says he won't sequester the jury until next Monday when he expects closing arguments to begin. I'm Garrett Tenney, Fox News.
Just ahead, officials demanding money designated in the American Rescue Plan for mental health be immediately released. Experts are getting a better understanding of just how severe COVID-19 is affecting mental health. This, as politicians on Capitol Hill are advocating for billions of dollars to help those in crisis get assistance. Fox News' Sal Giangrasso has more on the new medical data highlighting the issues and how part of President Biden's COVID relief bill is expected to help.
Anxiety and depression are rampant.
COVID-19 is not only impacting people's physical health, the virus is also posing major consequences for people's mental well-being. But a portion of President Biden's $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan could provide assistance if, according to government officials, the funds are immediately released.
There's $5 billion in the ARP bill, in the COVID-19 bill, to help deal with the increase in mental health, anxiety, depression, and other mental conditions that people have gained because of COVID.
The Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration will be tasked with dealing out the $5 billion in the form of grants, helping struggling Americans get access to mental health resources while giving healthcare providers more tools to assist.
This can't wait. It will get worse, and it will take our society a lot longer to get back to normal.
But as more states reopen their economies, rising COVID cases in some states have many folks fearing another potential shutdown, saying losing the ability to go out and socialize will have tremendous negative impacts on their quality of life.
It's not just affecting sickness, it's affecting the mental health of people. And being able to go outside is very important just to actually enjoy life again.
This increase in mental health awareness comes as a new study finds 1 in 3 COVID-19 survivors have faced either neurological or mental health problems. This includes anxiety and various mood disorders months after being diagnosed. Sal Giangrasso, Fox News.
All right, the latest chance to make money while doing hardly anything other than what you already love. And that's a big hint right there, guys. Yeah, Chicago-style hot dog. That's what I'm talking about. This story when we come back. So if you're a hot dog lover, also an avid baseball fan, listen up. You could score a dream job this summer. Casino review site Bonus Finder posted a job opening for an official MLB food tester. It requires traveling across the great United States, eating unlimited hot dogs at baseball stadiums, and getting paid for it. The winner will receive a $500 paycheck along with a food and travel budget. The tester will be expected to try the hot dogs at MLB stadiums and write a review of each experience on bonusfinder.com. The winner will also review the baseball games and rate the stadium atmosphere and excitement. Now, just in case you're curious, I'm going to say this. To enter the contest, log on to bonusfinder.com. The winner is going to be selected on May 5th. Dare I say, if this is your thing, go ahead. Go ahead. Dare I say, though, after this, you just might be sick of hot dogs. You just... Nah, I'm not going to sign up because I'm afraid of getting sick of hot dogs.
Yeah.
All right, 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports. Coming away, Joplin City Council hosting a work session to further nail down some master plans. Plus, a visit to Windsor Castle, where funeral preparations are underway for Britain's Prince Philip. Joplin's City Council hosted a work session tonight. Among the things on the agenda, revisiting action plans that were first introduced back in February. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky spoke with City Manager Nick Edwards on what's next for the city and these plans.
Joplin City Council heard from city staff who went over action plans that have been changed after receiving feedback from the last City Council meeting back in February.
The ones that were updated were the ones that had the most discussion previously, and so they're the ones that, there were some lingering questions or some additional thoughts, and so we went through all the meeting video to mark those up, and then brought those back for version 2.
The revised list of action plans includes strategies to improve housing and neighborhoods in Joplin. Joplin City Manager Nick Edwards says these plans are based on feedback from the community. And what the community wants right now is for the city to address its declining neighborhoods and overall appearance.
I think the desire for well-maintained, a beautiful, attractive community is something applicable at all incomes, at all ages, all whatever demographic. I think that's the desire for everyone, is to live in a quality place.
After receiving feedback on these revised plans, Edwards says he feels more confident to move ahead.
Most impactful, I think it's helpful for certainly the city manager and city staff to know if we're on course and we're meeting the council's needs.
Edwards also presented a new action plan to authorize the creation of a museum and theater district.
Had a new action plan to present tonight on behalf of the Arts and Cultural District. Certainly there's some things that we can do to help make sure that there's a vibrant area for arts and theater and museum, and so that was an exciting one to present.
Now, city staff will use feedback from tonight's meeting to continue building upon these plans to improve the city. In Joplin, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
The Joplin Area Safe Teens Coalition today held a presentation about vaping. The presentation was called The Truth About Vaping. It was billed as a chance for teens to see how vaping really impacts their health. President Biden hosting a bipartisan group of lawmakers in the Oval Office today. They discussed infrastructure and what, if anything, they can agree on. Fox News correspondent Ray Bogan has more on the president's latest push to pass his $2 trillion infrastructure proposal.
We got the dean here.
President Biden and a group of bipartisan lawmakers met at the White House to discuss the $2.3 trillion infrastructure package.
I'm prepared to negotiate.
The gathering of lawmakers came after a meeting with CEOs from around the world to talk about how they can increase domestic semiconductor production and secure the supply chain. A shortage could impact car production, internet, and cellular services.
China and the rest of the world is not waiting, and there's no reason why Americans should wait.
The Biden administration released a new report detailing the infrastructure needs of every state, including roads and bridges, public transportation, drinking water, and housing, among others. They also shared each state's grade from the infrastructure report card. Delaware got a D. Most got a C.
You don't need an engineering report to know that driving on American roads, they're not the way they should be, that our bridges need work. We've got thousands upon thousands that are in poor condition or even structurally deficient.
During his interview on Fox News Sunday, Secretary Buttigieg was forced to defend some of the administration's speaking points about the infrastructure package that are out of context. Republicans say the White House's rhetoric about the package has been a turnoff.
We've got a lot of questions. The door's open. It's heavy, but the door's open. But the president and his team need to stop the spin.
Democrats say the infrastructure package could add about 2.7 million jobs, but Republicans say it could eliminate at least 1 million jobs. Ray Bogan, Fox News.
Preparations get underway for the funeral of Britain's Prince Philip. The funeral will be held entirely within the grounds of Windsor Castle Saturday. Crews could be seen right there using cranes to place structures inside the castle walls to accommodate television coverage of the ceremony. The Duke of Edinburgh is going to be given a ceremonial royal funeral, not a state funeral. At St. George's Chapel is going to be preceded by a minute's silence across the country. A bit later, going to see why officials in California are calling this year's wildfire outlook grim.
Even though we kept things pretty quiet once again today, like we did yesterday, we just couldn't repeat yesterday's temperatures of highs in the upper 70s and lower 80s for today. We had to make do with lower to middle 60s, but it was still mild. We're back a bit below normal. But again, throughout much of the day, even though cloud cover was on the increase, we kept things quiet from indigo sky just outside of Seneca, Missouri, and across much of the area. But look at the radar network. At 9:39 right now, we're starting to see a few more echoes popping up across other parts of the region, a sign of more moisture in the clouds, trying to get a few more showers to develop. While we already had one batch work across our southern counties, now working over the southern parts of the Ozarks in southern Missouri, from Springfield over to West Plains. At times when it was getting its act together and pushing through McDonald County and even Lawrence and Berry counties, it had a little bit of lightning too, but thankfully nothing too crazy to deal with, as we're actually seeing a weak upper level disturbance roll across the state of Kansas, keeping us in the clouds and keeping an eye on the first of quite a few rain chances that I'm keeping an eye on for the rest of the week. Right now in Joplin, we're at 56, north breeze at about 10 miles per hour. You hop outside of Joplin, everyone's chilly from mid to upper 50s, but again, a few spots like Grove and Miami trying to hold on to readings near 60, but everyone turns chilly for the overnight, and everyone drops back mainly into the middle of the upper 40s. I think Joplin bottoms out at 48 before everybody actually bounces back, I should say, into the lower 60s once again for tomorrow. Looking back at the map here, we will broaden the view out and plot the surface map for you. Our cold front pushed on through, and it did its job of switching our southwest wind yesterday back to the north, bringing in the cooler air. Now upstairs at the jet stream level, we have one weak system passing to the north, a subtle wave keeping us cloudy with some scatter rain chances tonight. Then there's this low that's getting us act together in Idaho. That's the one that wants to bring better rain chances down the line, but it's not tonight. Again, we'll just deal with scattered showers, maybe a couple of additional thunderstorms. Again, nothing too crazy. And by the time we get the morning drive underway, 7 a.m. on your Tuesday, I think we'll enter a pretty substantial dry period, at least for much of your Tuesday. Not going to rule out a stray shower late tomorrow afternoon, but even though we'll be bouncing in and out of the clouds, we are going to see afternoon highs back near 63 after we start at 48 and see our lunchtime temperatures right around 60. Another weak wave could bring a few more showers our way late tomorrow night into Wednesday morning. The overall emphasis for Wednesday and Thursday, though, a weak upper level ridge working in. That's keeping us partly sunny and dry for Wednesday and Thursday. Then that wave near Idaho brings in the better chance for steady rainfall on Friday. And with this active setup underway, with the jet stream to our south, cloud cover, rain chances too, we'll be stuck in the lower 50s for highs Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So it's not going to be the best of weekends for any outdoor plans. But at least the next few days, temperature-wise, are looking okay. 63 tomorrow, 62 on Tuesday.
Before you know it, I guess
Wednesday.
before you know it, temperatures are going to be stuck in the 90s. So, and we'll be complaining about that. So that's how we are, I guess. Nick Kelly, thank you so much. Coming up in sports, Webb City baseball hitting the road to Carthage. Plus, a lifetime of hard work paying off for a Pittsburgh high school senior by the name of Tyson Weimers. Jacob Leonard has that story next.
Pittsburgh High School senior Tyson Weimers has enjoyed some of the biggest moments of his life in his senior year at PHS. Now for Weimers, who was on the autism spectrum, those moments are a product of a lifetime of work from himself, his family, and the Southeast Kansas community. A lifetime of hard work is paying off for Pittsburgh senior Tyson Weimers.
All those things that might be little for some people have been huge to us.
In the last year, Weimers has won 5 Special Olympics medals, knocked through 3 extra points for the football team, and on the basketball court, beat the buzzer in the Dragons' final home game of the regular season.
It really makes me feel good.
There's no way we'll have that feeling ever again. You go through that whole range of, what you have to go through, and to have him, show up in a game, and these dumb games we play can create, these types of emotions, man. It was wonderful.
Those plays and those moments lasted mere seconds, but for Weimers, who was on the autism spectrum, they took years of hard work.
Autism can be very sensory based, so there are a lot of sensory issues that we had to deal with. Early on he was scared to death of things like the starting pistol at track and field day, and he got to the point where he could handle cannons going off at football games.
I'd be lying to say that there's moments he went out there and I was terrified.
For him to be able to be in full pads and a helmet, playing football is huge. The fireworks going off at the football games. If you've ever seen Tyson coming out on the field, he's had his fingers through his helmet holes into his ears.
Yeah, it takes a lot of hard work to get out there.
Tyson's an athlete and puts the work in to be successful and to make the most of his opportunities. He does that. There's nothing given to him. Tyson's earned everything he's gotten because he's put the work in just like all the others. So, it's a cool story, but that kid works for everything he gets.
Tyson's impact goes beyond the numbers he puts in the stat sheet.
Some people have that it factor. They gravitate people towards them. They uplift people. Tyson's one of those kids, and it doesn't take long to understand that. So anybody who's ever met Tyson remembers him.
Right now,
this thing is about to get blasted.
He's focused on golf, his favorite sport, and enjoying his final months wearing the Pittsburgh purple.
Have fun being a Dragon.
While his high school career will come to a close, Weimers has left his mark at PHS.
Every one of those moments was just, off the chart special, and things you never forget.
And Pittsburgh and the rest of the Southeast Kansas community has left its mark on Tyson and his family.
I don't want any of it to come to an end. That boy lives for school, and everybody from administration to teachers to coaches to the kids have made sure that his school experience has been awesome.
Thank goodness for those beautiful people at the high school and middle school and even elementary school that let him go in the game and gave him a chance to be included and be involved, and we just thank the world, all those people that let him do that.
Tyson's family says he will find a job and start working after graduation. Now, in June 2022, he will represent the state of Kansas on the golf course at the Special Olympics World Games in Orlando, Florida. Finally, we do have a little baseball tonight. Carthage, fresh off their Bill O'Dell Tournament Championship, hosting Webb City. The Cardinals win it in a shutout, 8-0. Webb City now 12-2 overall this season. That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Ongoing drought conditions in California leads to Cal Fire starting its wildfire season prep early. Fox's Greg Liggins tells us how the state's largest firefighting team is getting ready.
Firefighters throughout California spent much of 2020 extinguishing the more than 4.2 million acres of wildland that was scorched in a record-breaking season. Now, with drought conditions throughout the state and no significant rainfall being forecast, firefighters have been forced to begin preparations early for the coming fire season.
We are ahead of schedule compared to years in the past, and our fuels are starting to dry out faster than last year.
Fire scientists have been measuring the amount of moisture in fuels, and the fire lab at San Jose State recently tweeted measurements taken in the South Bay at record lows, calling the 2021 fire outlook grim. CAL FIRE is hiring 1,400 more hand crews this season to help with firefighting and mitigation, and chopper pilots will be staffed sooner than normal. Year to date, CAL FIRE says there have already been roughly 300 more fires than last year and about 500 more than the 5-year average.
I would say that a large contributing factor to that is the fact that we are further along in the progression of the fuels drying out.
In some areas, like the Moraga-Orinda Fire District, where danger is currently low, firefighters are using the lull to focus on prevention with mitigation efforts that have been underway for months. Firefighters have been removing fuels with pile burning, controlled burns, and getting rid of old growth in trees.
And the idea there is to not allow the fire
to have a ladder, if you will, up into the canopies where we really can't put it out in a wildfire scenario.
Some firefighters refer to the drying out of grasses as curing, a condition when grasses are ripe to burn. In some areas, that time has already arrived, while in other places like Moraga Orinda, it's close enough that work may soon turn from preventing to fighting.
Fire season's just around the corner, and we know, based on what happened last year, that it's not going to be an easy one.
Man. All right, a new week of entertainment coming your way on Fox 14. Going to get a preview when we come back. The Masked Singer finalists compete for a spot in the Super 8, plus big spring premieres and much more on Fox TV this week. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin with a preview.
Hit dramas are back with all new episodes. Here's what's hot on Fox.
Maddie, you gotta help me.
First on 911 Monday, it's a replay of Buck Begins with a look at Buck's family life and what led him to the 118. Then it's more America's Most Wanted with expert analysis and new cases for viewers to help solve.
This is Dr. Bell. He's my stepfather.
Tuesday is a big spring premiere night. The Resident picks up with a personal case for Dr. Bell and Jake. Plus, the Raptor, AJ, and Mina figure out future plans.
I withheld information from you, and for that I apologize.
That's followed by an all-new Prodigal Son with guest star Alan Cumming as an investigator on a case close to the Whitleys, putting Malcolm and the whole family on edge. Wednesday, it's the Masked Singer Group A Finals. Another wildcard contestant joins in, and finalists take their place in the Super 8. You gotta be kidding me! That's followed by the mystery performer guessing game Game of Talents with host Wayne Brady. Thursday, the final three compete on Hell's Kitchen. Last Man Standing brings an episode directed by series star Amanda Fuller. And comedy continues with The Moody's, where Sean Sr. is benched before a big hockey game and Anne holds her first therapy session.
Pump to the leg to win the goal!
Friday is for Fox Sports WWE Friday Night SmackDown. And next week, 911 and 911 Lone Star return with those spring premieres. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with video of a panda in Russia playing with a bamboo rocket. Must be part of a secret military or something. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.